In here on BOXTOROW, we're joined by a gentleman. He's in his second season as the head football coach at Benedict. The Tigers going to be in the SIAC Championship game on Saturday at Albany State. 9-1 on the season, ranked in the regional. So looking at some postseason play as well. Ron Dickerson, again, the head football coach of the Benedict Tigers, joining us here on BOXTOROW. Coach Dickerson, we appreciate the time. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Your thoughts? What a season so far. 9-1 on the season, and of course, playing in the SIAC Championship game on Saturday against Albany State.
When we came in July, we had a vision, and that's also our slogan. And we just stayed with it. Our vision was to get better, 1% better daily, and that's what we did. We had a roadmap, and part of the roadmap, I think the very second to last one was play for the SIAC Championship. The last one was to do strong academically. And every one of our stops on this journey, we accomplished. And so, we are just, taking it day by day as we've decided as a team, and the staff is, I get to be the bus driver, and I got a bus full of great people, sometimes knuckleheads. But we're enjoying our journey, and we made sure that there were no energy vampires on it. And we understood what the standard was. And that's why we're where we are today.
Tough game, your last outing. Boy, Savannah State's played well back-to-back weeks against the two teams that are playing in the SIAC Championship. What a win for you guys in double overtime against Savannah State.
Coach Kellen's a really good friend of mine. And so that's, there's quite a few guys in this conference that I'm really good friends with. And, that kind of your friends all, as Coach Caitlin would say, your friends all the way up until kickoff. And then hopefully after the game, you're also friends. And we gave each other a hug. But, it just shows the resilience of my team, and, that they believe in each other. And as you mentioned, though, Savannah State's a really good team. Their record doesn't show it. And, people get caught up in the wins and losses. But he had a lot of great young men that he was playing with. And, we just outlasted them. And then that's something that we have been working on all year, is that, we're going to play 4 quarters. We did some things, and we're doing some things different. We lost 2 offensive linemen earlier. And so our right guard is a true freshman. And so, having to protect him is something that, we've had to do, and we really wanted to get him comfortable and putting him in pass situations. He feels a lot better. And so, what we did was we decided we were going to run the ball. And when you run the ball, either you break long ones, or it's just a game of hey, it's the game's on the ground, and it's going to be a long, drawn-out game. And that's kind of what happened. Our defense, as we talked about, it gave up 2 big plays, but those both big plays gave up points. And there was about 4 times where we had, opportunities to catch the ball, and we didn't do that. And so, last 2 weeks, our receivers have been playing really bad, and we got to get back onto that. And because, they're a vital part of our offense. And so I think, through this week, they've really stepped up, and I look forward to it. But I think it was a good test, because that's a good defense that we played in Savannah, and we're about to play another one on Saturday. If not right there, I would say Savannah, Albany, and Benedict probably has the best defense in the conference, and those are the teams that we played against. And so it's good that we've played Albany's defense, we've played Savannah's defense, and every day we go against our defense.
Ron Dickerson, he's the head football coach at Benedict in his second season, as he joins us here on BOXTOROW. Benedict ranked number 4 in the Division II regional, also number 4 in the HBCU Division II coaches poll. You talked about the defense. Israel Nwakacha has been absolutely tremendous. I'm hoping I'm saying his last name right.
Nwakacha. Yes, there you go.
Okay, great. And Tymetrius Patterson's been an HBCU National Player of the Week this week. Just talk about these two. 8 sacks apiece for these 2 young men.
It goes all the way back to the summer when I went on the SIAC conference trip. We sat in there and the people said Benedict will be 7th, and they both looked at me and said, "Coach, there's no way that's going to happen." And they came back, and they wanted to have a team meeting, and they got on Zoom and everything else and told the guys, that people thought of us was 7th, and they put the work in. And so I think that's why they're so on fire, because they sat right there in those SIAC meetings and all that. And, they got to see things real, and they got to bring it back. And we never made it personal. It was just, if you get tired, remember what people think of you. And, those two guys have so much energy. They're leaders off the field, they're leaders on the field. And I think that's why, because you have one on the right side, one on the left side. And then when they put them both on the same side, they're scary. And that's why I laugh, because we get to go against them in practice and it's never live. But I watch them on Saturday, and I remind, my wife and their offensive coaches and defensive coaches, I'm glad I get to watch them on Saturdays instead of having to play against them, And so they're just great young men off the field, and that's the most important thing. But when they go on the field, boy, they love some football.
What has to be different this time around, Coach Dickerson? I mean, Albany State a couple of weeks ago got you 31-3. What has to be different this time around, and what concerns you about the Golden Rams?
Well, they're a good team, so is Benedict. The last time we played, they were a better team, and we didn't play well. I don't know if the game was too big. I don't know if I didn't do a good enough job of getting our team ready. And every opportunity that they had, they took advantage of it. And so, what we got to do is we just got to go back and play Benedict football. We got to play sound on special teams. We got to play sound on defense. We got to play sound on offense. But again, this is a very seasoned team that we're playing. They're playing at home. They're excited, and it's just a great opportunity that we get to, go into the game and I don't even say, redeem ourselves or anything else. It's an opportunity that, there's a lot of people sitting at home right now, and we get to play this weekend. And so that's where we're looking at it, and we get to play a really good football team. And that's what excites us, is that we're playing a good football team.
What intrigued? I mean, it's probably a loaded question, but what intrigued you about this job? You had a myriad of experiences throughout the course of your career. Your last stop was at West Florida. I mean, look, Chinnisberry did a really good job at Benedict coming off the SIAC Championship. You took over, I believe it was a 5-5 season, and then, like you said, people said, "Well, we're going to rank you 7th coming into this season." What attracted you to Benedict and ultimately becoming the head football coach there?
I've again, Coach Barry, he did, and the previous coach staff, they did a great job. When I came in, I had to rebuild this program from scratch. In the transfer portal, a lot of guys left. A lot of guys that were of his program didn't like the way I was running things, and I don't have a problem with that. You have your own opinion, and plus, it helped me get my own guys that wanted to buy into my standard. So I really wasn't, I seen Coach Barry last week. I joked with him. We both wear size 13s, but I told him I wear different shoes than he does. And, we both come from two different sets of parents. And so my job is not to walk in his shoes. It's just to build the program the way I want to. And I've been blessed to be around some successful programs. And so, I sat in there at West Florida, and I'll never forget, at West Florida, when we thought, we made the long run and lost to Ferris that year, that we looked over and I seen Benedict, and I said, why can't an HBCU be in this situation? And it's no disrespect to anybody else or any of the coaches, because, there's been some that have gone really far. I said, but there's also a lot of them that are good that don't have the opportunity. And when the job came open, I said, boy, they do have the history. They do have the facilities to be another West Florida, to be a Valdosta. And I said, well, let me take some of my knowledge and put together a good coaching staff, and maybe, just lead them in the same direction and in previous as Coach Barry did. But also do it, Ron Dickerson Jr.'s way. And that's, what I did. I mean, and that's what we're trying to do. We're nowhere where we want to be, but we are happy to be blessed to be playing in the championship game this weekend.
Ron Dickerson Jr., the head football coach at Benedict, joining us here for a couple of more moments on the program. Benedict and Albany State going to get together in the SIAC Championship in Albany on Saturday. Your dad, Ron Dickerson, head football coach at Temple, football coach in some other places as well, very well known. Speak to what you learned from him in terms of the coaching profession, and then what you've been able to apply throughout your career as a head football or as a football coach.
The one thing I learned from Dad is you got to be consistent in everything you do. And a lot of times, and that's what we've done this year is we've been consistent going into this game. We're consistent. We're not changing. We're not getting excited. It's not about a ring. It's not about a trophy. It's the opportunity and the blessing to play another football game. And that's one of the things that my dad always told me is that, you got to win. People don't understand this, but you win the game on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday. They get to go out there and have fun. So many guys think that they can just show up on Saturday and they're going to win the game. And so, every morning at 8 o'clock, I'm on the phone with my mom and dad. Mom says, "Hey, how you doing?" Then she drifts off, and Dad and I talk a little bit about football. We talk a little bit about politics. And then, every Friday night, every Friday night, me and him get on there and we'll talk about, my son and high school football and stuff like that. And, Saturday before the game, we'll have a little conversation. That's more son, father. But, after the game, he'll say, "Boy, you gave me a heart attack," like last week with the overtime game. And then Sunday, after church, we have a coach-to-coach meeting. And we talk about it, and he'll every once in a while say, "Hey, reach out to some of the other guys that and, also ask them about certain situations." So, it's the blessing to be in that situation. It's the blessing to have that. It's the blessing to have somebody that has so much experience because, again, what I learned from him was to always be humble, to work hard, and to be consistent in everything you do, and great things will happen.
Ron Dickerson Jr., the head football coach at Benedict, joining us here on Box to Row. The Tigers, again, 9-1 on the season, going to take on Albany State in the SIAC Championship game. Coach Dickerson, we appreciate the time. Good luck to you and the Tigers.
Thank you very much.